Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our daily word this morning. It is Wednesday, April 20th. Glad you could join me for our time together. It's a beautiful day today. So we gather again as we continue our conversation through the daily word and how it speaks to us and what it might mean for us as we continue to live our daily lives and put Scripture into play as we share together and live our lives together. So glad you could join me again this morning. As we missed yesterday morning, we had doctor's appointments to be at, and so missed yesterday, but we're back with you, and we'll continue the rest of the week. So this morning, the scripture is from the book of Colossians, chapter 1, verses 7 through 10, and this is Paul's letter to the church in Colossae. And it's these early Christians that we hear about and speak about and think about. And so we hear these words. You learned it from Epaphras, our dear fellow servant, who is a faithful minister of Christ on our behalf, and who also told us of your love in the Spirit. For this reason, since the day we heard about you, we have not stopped praying for you. We continually ask God to fill you with the knowledge of his will through all the wisdom and understanding that the Spirit gives, so that you may live a life worthy of the Lord and please him in every way, bearing fruit in every good work, growing in the knowledge of God. And so these words to the early Christians, these very first Christians who are followers of Jesus, who are people of the way, they're powerful words that we hear from the writer of this to them, encouraging them, loving them, helping them to grow, giving them some spice, some love, some push along their way. And so there's lots to be spoken about here in this text about who God is and the power of the Spirit, as the writer says, in their lives and who they are. And so the writer of this in this letter says that we want you to be filled with wisdom and understanding that the Spirit gives, live a life worthy of the Lord and please him in every way, that you'll bear good fruit and grow in knowledge of God. All of that is really powerful stuff, right? It's what we want. It's what we hope for in our lives together, that we all grow in this kind of way. And we do that together, and we try to figure it out. But then there's this other piece of this text that really jumped out at me, and it jumped out at me because of many conversations I have with people who ask me to pray for them. Can I add this person to my prayer list? And so, I carry a list with me. I wish I was really great at it and that it just jumped out at me every morning. It doesn't, but I keep that list in my car. I carry it with me. I have it written on my bulletins as I prepare for worship on Sunday mornings. But there are two pieces here that I think are important for us as we live our lives together that help us in our faith journey. Two things. We have not stopped praying for you. This early church, these Christians, struggling with what it means to be Christian, struggling with what it means to be people of the way, we've not stopped praying for you. It's true that the early Christians especially took prayer very seriously. And I'm reminded in reading other stuff that the early Christians weren't familiar with casual prayer. That it just, when it ever popped up to them, it was scheduled, it was important, it was part of their life, it was who they were. A couple of years ago, when I was completing continuing education in Chicago, it's a powerful thing that I went to every 6 weeks, but every day that we were there for 3 days, there were built-in times of prayer. They were just built in. We would gather, wherever we were gathered for our learning, we would go upstairs to the chapel place that they had set up, And every day, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, we gathered for prayer. It wasn't casual prayer. It was scheduled. It was set. And the early Christians took that seriously. That prayer for them wasn't casual. We have not stopped praying for you. And then the second thing is that we continually ask God. I think those are powerful words that we hear in this text. We continually ask God to move in your life. And I wonder for us, and for me, I'll just make it really personal because this is it really convicts me personally as much as anything. This idea that we haven't stopped praying for you. That we ask God continually to fill you with knowledge and wisdom and understanding. We ask God continually to help you live a life worthy of the Lord and please Him in every way. We ask God continually that you'll bear good fruit and growing in the knowledge and love of God. This is an interesting text, I think, for us as we're all these, years removed. Some of us have been people of the way, followers all our lives for a really long time. And I wonder for us, if we were to move away from the idea of casual prayer, and if we made that a more important part of our lives. I wonder sometimes, because this has become a part of who we are, if that, at least for me, and as I read this text and as I think about my prayer life, that I've become a professional, and I can pray in the moment, I can pray on the spot, and I can usually, mostly rightly say the right and correct words. But I wonder if for us, for me, for you, that we ought to look at our lives differently and maybe, if you will, become amateurs again, to pray in this kind of way that the writer says, we've not stopped praying for you. We ask God continually. What would it look like for us if we just took one person, in our life that we knew, and for an entire week prayed for them without ceasing, without it being casual? If we took one person for an entire week and said, we're going to ask God to continually fill them. I wonder what it would look like for us and for the other person if we took that seriously. I wonder what it would mean for us if we would take this call of the early Christians seriously. I don't think we live different lives necessarily. It's tough. We struggle with all the things in and through our lives that are demanded of us. And wouldn't it be amazing if you and I together didn't take the art of prayer so casual, but made it part of what we did in our daily walk, in our daily life. And if we didn't take this idea to ask God to fill somebody when we think they're depleted, but to ask God to fill people around us, continually fill people. That's an interesting question, an interesting response that we might have of this text as we live our lives. So I think about this and the call to prayer in my life and the call to continually ask God to move in us. If we would commit to that for each other, I wonder what difference it would make. How might we be changed and we be made different if we acted in such a way? Maybe, just maybe, and even for me especially, if I would just let go of my professional prayer status and become an amateur once again, and just pray in such a way that it makes a difference, and that it's not casual. So, hope that's a good word for you and for me as we strive to live our lives faithfully and to heed God's call faithfully. So, I hope that helps us. It helps me. if nothing else, regain some perspective about who the early Christians were and how they became such a powerful force in the world, and that we might do the same thing. So, I hope that helps. I hope that's a good word for us. Know of God's love today that surrounds you. I'm committed to praying continually and to ask God to continually bless you. And I hope you'll do the same for me. So, know of my love for all of you, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Have a great day.